Hey y'all, good to see you. My name is Mickey Wolf, and I am the CEO at Dent Education, and we're really excited to talk with you about our Earn to Learn programs here today. Before we jump in, I'd love for my teammates to introduce themselves. Also, I use he, him pronouns, and yeah.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here with you. My name is Josh Sakis, pronouns he, him, and I serve as our Senior Director of Production and Operations at Dent.
Hey everyone, my name is AJ, pronouns they, she, and I am Dent's second ever Innovator in Residence.
And our Innovator in Residence program is one of the programs that kind of fits this model of Earn to Learn. So, today we're going to basically, in the next 20 minutes, talk to you a little bit about what Dent Education is, talk about why you should pay youth, why we pay youth as well. Then, Dent is kind of part of this broader human-centered workforce development movement. And, we kind of want to explain a little bit more about some learnings as to what does it mean to not just be an employer, but employ somebody with human-centered principles. We'll talk about some of the real learnings of compensating youth in practice. Josh, as our Senior Director of Operations, is seeing how, there's an operational back end. And honestly, a lot of organizations won't take on that liability of compensating young people. And so it's, an important part of our model, but also there's some lessons to be learned, and we've learned them over the last 5 years of compensating youth in programs. And so we're going to share some of what those barriers and challenges are before suggesting a couple quick ways that you can put this work into action. So first, let's talk about what Dent Education is. At Dent, we run these paid innovation internships where students in Baltimore City develop that I can confidence. They, express their creativity by solving problems within the community. They build relationships and social capital with folks all across the city. And they also develop jobs and kind of prepare for innovation careers. Really, our mission at its core is all about building a more equitable future. We empower under-resourced youth to kind of activate that innate creativity to make an impact in the world around them. At Dent, we know that all humans have the ability to be creative, and it's what's inside of our young people. We also talk about Dent as a youth innovation hub, where the resources, people, and opportunities come together for our young people to start building the future of Baltimore today. And we'll pass it to AJ to talk about the mindsets.
All right, so here at Dent, we have 6 mindsets that are the foundation of Dent and core to our curriculum, metrics, culture, and values, and ultimately core to me as a former Denter turned innovator in residence. So we have mindsets like we see problems as opportunities, where you take a negative and turn it into a positive. We ask why, ask questions about everything. We listen deeply. You listen to people, you be empathetic, and empathy is one of my strong suits. We take action. Taking action it also goes in tandem with we see problems as opportunities, taking that problem and taking action. We fail fast and keep learning from your problems that may have been opportunities. And we start with we. Starting with we is ultimately integral to Dent as a whole because we have a very diverse and connected ecosystem.
So ultimately at Dent, kind of at the end of the day, the reason why we offer programs like this that pay our students is to lessen the racial wealth gap in Baltimore City and end this false choice that's presented to our teens. Work a job, earn now, or do a program and build future skills. At Dent, our young people are doing both. Now let's dive into that a little bit more. Why do we choose to pay youth? For us, part of it starts with our impact model. We know that in the long term, we want our young people to be able to achieve agency and upward mobility in their lives. And ultimately to execute in that kind of that world that we are working towards, this is what makes our programs accessible. This is what allows for a young person to actually be able to show up in our space and kind of to work towards that long-term vision where they've developed these careers, they have that kind of I can mentality, that belief in their own ability, and they have the network needed to actually to kind of build a different world for themselves and their families into the future. Our Earn to Learn model actually really began in a specific scenario. This is in 2019. When I first joined Dent, I was a program manager, and one of our star students in our program Accelerate Your Dent was someone named Twano. And in 2019, Twano said, like, hey, Dent's my happy place. I love being here, but in actuality, I'm going to go work a job in Burger King because I just need to make money right now. And even though he was building a business and being an entrepreneur and could have made money through that business, he needed something that was a little bit more stable. So as AJ talked about, we applied our problem equals opportunity mindset. And we really saw this, this need in the marketplace and the need for our young people to actually earn in our programs and to really develop this thesis of equity that revolves around economic justice. So what does this program model look like in action? It looks like both Dent and youth being able to earn in all of our internships. For our students, this makes the programs accessible. It also helps us to incentivize real world impact and excellence because we can hold different levels of standards and expectations in a program that is also a job. For Dent, we also to make this more sustainable, we've used this sort of model to drive towards financial sustainability. We run these high quality, high touch programs. That means they cost more money for Dent as an organization. But by having programs like Made at Dent that generate revenue, this allows us to tie our impact to our value creation. And finally, for the employers who we often partner with, this kind of allows them to expand their talent pipeline, bringing in youth and creativity as well as community into their brand.
And for some motivations for our denters, as we have learned through recent studies, 60%, little over half, are interested in joining Dent for learning new skills and applying those skills to their work, their other work, their school. But also 57%, which is a little more than half as well, earning their motivation is earning money, and that's very important, especially in today's times where it's hard to learn a new skill and earn money at the same time.
Now, what does it mean to be human-centered in how we develop our workforce? So a couple things that have become clear to us over the years is first and foremost, care and accountability aren't opposite forces. We want our young people to be in a supportive environment, in a space where they know that they can bring their problems and, have open and honest relationships with their staff. There's, kind of this supportive ecosystem that we build at Dent, and our students feel that. They really develop an I can mentality because they know that the people at Dent trust them and love them, and that's important. At the same time, this is a job. We want our students to experience the type of accountability that they would in the real world, to work towards excellence and to say, hey, when you make mistakes, when you're not being engaged, when you're, kind of not meeting the standards we've kind of mutually co-created here, we want to be able to call you into that. Another really important part of this is establishing those professional norms. We've had to have tough conversations with young people about ways in which they're not actually meeting those expectations. Doing things like having a, kind of at the end of a program semester, having like a accountability interview with some students that we were, kind of reconsidering their contract. In general, those clear expectations, communication, and contract is essential. If you use that QR code, you can actually go to our slot or to the contract that we use, just so you can get a sense of that sort of language. And those relationships that really are core to everything we do at Dent also lead to pathways and opportunities where our young people actually eventually become our staff. So just as AJ is our innovator in residence, we also have had students as fellows and coaches as well.
All right, so we've talked about what this looks like in theory, but we want to actually break this down to what it looks like in practice. to compensate youth, and how do you actually build programs and internship programs around doing this. So just to undergird everything, we sustain youth wages largely through earned revenue made at Dent and Denternship, which are the two programs that we'll focus on just in this quick section here. So at Made at Dent, our denters are seen as co-owners of a for-profit business that we run with staff here. So we're doing everything from B2B or business to business sales. So that's actually working with external clients to produce custom merchandise and products for what their needs are. And then also developing business to consumer products that we sell at pop-ups and markets around the city. So in both of those, our denters are brought into the entire decision-making process, from how do we market to our cost analysis. So what does it actually cost to take an idea and put it out on the market? So supplies, materials, resources, et cetera. They're understanding, what does quality assurance look like? In order to produce and sell something, it needs to look a certain way. It needs to have a certain level of quality assigned to it. We also need to understand when we do make a mistake, or if something doesn't come out the way we want to, like, what does that impact on the bottom line? So truly, we are not just seeing our youth as another set of hands to help produce these products. They are fully involved in that business decision there. They're also brought into the external client meetings as well, and presenting briefs on various product directions, things like that, and getting feedback. So they're learning these real designer skills that are going to take them in any number of directions in their professional path beyond Dent. And then with Denternship, we've essentially built out a high school network of design consultants here, where we have created a client relationship where we're bringing in Denternship hosts, or these are local organizations that have some type of design challenge. That design challenge could be process related, digital product related, physical product related, any kind of number of things. And then we're actually bringing on a small but mighty consulting team of denters to attack that problem and present findings and deliverables throughout the process. We totally give the reins over to these small teams. We're not, babysitting, so to speak. They are fully there at the table. They are having meetings with these clients on their own, and trusted to actually produce the deliverables and findings and recommendations to our hosts on a timed basis. And then, of course, I think with having run these programs for a number of years at this point, there are a number of learnings that we've taken away from the actual compensation piece. So at the top, I think passion and mission alignment with Dent is key. For us, it's not just about the job, it's about the skills, it's about the community, it's about the mindsets that we work to foster here at Dent. So we want to make sure that we're not just hiring workers, we're hiring people to be part of a larger community here. Next up is transparency around payroll. We work here to be very clear at the beginning and throughout the entire employment or internship process around what students can, or what denters can be expected to receive at each paycheck. That starts with taking down hours before payroll goes out, presenting their hours and what they can expect pay-wise from that, going like before the payroll goes out on Monday, giving time for notice and comment or feedback for questions to be asked. I keep myself available to answer any questions around taxes, pre-tax, amounts, all that type of stuff, just to make sure that denters feel like they're not being taken advantage of, that they know exactly what they're going to receive every other Friday. So really wanting to structure in that comfort with being able to talk to your employer around payroll, but then also making sure that we're doing everything to, get them in the mindset of understanding, hey, when you work a job, this is how you can expect to be compensated for your time, your effort, your energy, and your motivation. In addition, we also want to model out what it looks like to go above and beyond and to hit certain KPIs or certain objectives and key goals. So we have a milestone process set up here where, just like in the real world, if you exceed or hit particularly audacious goals for your organization, generally you can expect some type of elevated compensation. So that's how our milestone process works, where we're very, again, transparent about those milestones at the outset of every program session or every program term. And we are helping our denters monitor their progress towards those. And these, again, these are milestones that you don't hit by just showing up for, for the internship session. You have to work at these beyond the course, just like anything else. And then, of course, at the very end of this is we're not just here to be a job. We are, as we laid out in our mindsets, as AJ has shared in their experience with Dent, this is not just a job. This is a larger community. This is a place where we're trying to create a shared generation, or the next generation of mindful, thoughtful designers, youth innovators, technologists, and engineers. And to do that, you have to build that community. So we do throw a number of unpaid community socials throughout the calendar year to help strengthen that bond, and to also help foster these mindsets around, we start with listening actively, all these types of things. Of course, there are going to be barriers and challenges to this model. This is not the model that Dent arrived with overnight, and it took some time to get here. Chief among these, as I'm sure you're all aware of, is cost and sustainability. In order to pay your youth, you have to have money to actually, furnish their paychecks. So we've solved that in a number of ways with Denternship. Because it is an earned revenue, we're taking money from, or we're getting money from our hosts to produce a design solution. That money in part is used to pay the denters like you would any type of design consultant. We also work with a rich tapestry of local partners in order to make sure that we can pay our youth as well. YouthWorks has been an amazing partner in that regard. We also, I think like any type of after school or summer program, this is seen more as an extracurricular at the outset than it is an employer. And so we work to really start and shift those norms from day one, from you're not a youth participant, you are an employee here, and here's what the employee-employer relationship looks like. And so really trying to underscore that norm set around that from the outset, to make sure that that level of engagement that you would expect from someone working at a job would be. And then, I think something else that we ask ourselves is, what role are we playing in perpetuating capitalism's harms, on society, on, the economic wealth gap, kind of the zero-sum game that I think sometimes that, this is seen as, or the hustle grind set mentality. And I think with any of this, we work to approach this in an ethical way. I think we do incentivize, again, conversations and open conversations around compensation, around payroll. We, try to make sure that money and pay is not they're not dirty words around here, to at least help dismantle some of the more toxic norms that have evolved around payroll.
Thanks so much for diving into all those pieces of it, Josh. This is a kind of little template we created if you were interested in kind of, reflecting on how you might start compensating youth and wanted to kind of give that opening there as well. Feel free to dive in. A couple of things to consider in getting started is, piloting some sort of way of paying students. So this could be a stipend for a certain program, or it could be gift cards as rewards for participating in something, or, kind of things like that. Some people started with a youth advisory board, youth alumni advisory board. Definitely I'd recommend kind of exploring local partnerships. So places like YouthWorks in Baltimore City are a really great partner to work with. And then developing roles for youth on staff. I think that's another really powerful way to kind of serve the young people you work with in the longer term. Yeah, I think, kind of quick next steps could be doing research, kind of sending emails, things like that. Yeah. We'll just give you a minute to pause the video here to reflect on any lessons you want to take away. I think it's always valuable to at least jot a few things from a session like this. And then finally, we just wanted to share our contact info to follow up. We'd love to reach out to us. And yeah, thank you so much for listening in.